26th of May 2020, and it's just gone 8 p.m. I still have several bags of rubbish. 7, 8 maybe. I think there might be another one coming tomorrow morning because the kitchen's stinking. Oh, excuse me, sorry. The kitchen's stinking. I did try turning my phone off over the weekend, but it appears that most websites to do with anything logged in requires to send you a text message. So it was on, off, so I've left it on. The only one that's called me so far is Duncan, as usual. Karen sent the police round. Suicide watch, again. Once again, I had to apologise to the police for getting involved because it's a waste of public funds, waste of resources, etc., etc. They were really good, as they often are. This time I actually took the police into my toilet, which sounds weird, but I needed someone to actually witness what I'm going through. Not just the photograph, the smell, and how I'm living. Because with the toilet basically out of bounds, because I can't stay in there for very long, so I can just wash my hands and flick some water on my face, occasionally clean my teeth. I can't even clean my teeth properly, it's that bad in there. And I can't have a shower or bath. So, oh, excuse me. So my hygiene's gone down the pan. I'm holding at a -4 mentally. I'm determined not to let it get any worse because I've got to see this through now. I've replied back to an email that I missed from Karen earlier today, about a couple of hours ago. Oh, sure. As you can imagine, I'm not getting much sleep lately either. I basically explained to Karen in the email that, she might think I'm angry, but I'm not angry with her. I'm more angry with the people that have, been paid to be public servants and refused to actually be public servants. I might be just an ordinary person, but I'm not a typical person. My Asperger's does mean that I need answers. You can't just brush me aside anymore. I've had, 27 years of that. Oh, I am sorry about the yawning. And I'm not asking difficult questions to which people won't have the answers. I just need someone to answer me. Martin Eason needs to explain why he sent my email as a complaint and not given me a meeting. Michelle Maloney needs to explain why I got promised a call from her and she didn't call. Tony Bell, Rosalind Dorr, my 2 counsellors. I don't include the third one because I hadn't seen him in 2 years and, apart from one call where he wouldn't explain himself, I've not seen him since. So, Tony Bell and Rosalind Dorr both need to explain themselves. 1, for not getting involved. 2, for not respecting myself. In the case of Rosalind Doré, 3, for ignoring disabled people. And you know what, I don't need to go into this on here, do I, Rosalind Doré? I would give you a title, but you don't deserve your title. Neither of you do. And Tony, a private Facebook account with one main protagonist as one of your friends? Really? There was a time I was thinking about becoming a counsellor. And then I realised if you don't get paid, you get expenses. And I thought, counsellors doing a good job and they're not getting paid. I wouldn't be able to do that because, it would have to be a full-time job with me. And it is really a full-time job. And all you get is expenses. um, but that doesn't excuse. I mean, if you go to become a counsellor, then you have to do the job. And for instance, if I raise something, I don't expect it to be re-raised every 2 or 3 months, and every time I have to explain everything about the issue that I'm trying to raise. There should be an update. There should be a follow-up. You should be chasing these things up. I shouldn't have to be chasing you. You should be chasing people for me if I raise an issue. It's not good enough to, I've sent an email. You need to send an email, copy me in. Easy. Then the customer can see what you've done and who you've done it with. Not, there's lots of people, like in general now, not just my 2 counsellors. There's lots of people from multiple agencies talking about you, Mr. Gibbons. Really? Well, to me, it doesn't feel like anyone is doing anything apart from talking, and even then, I don't believe you. Someone should be managing this situation. Someone senior, not just the one above Junad in housing. It's gone beyond housing. It needs someone senior, one of the directors, to explain theirself or themselves. I really don't get it. To me, it is so simple, and yet all the council wants to do is waste time, discuss things, hold meetings, hold more meetings, discuss what was discussed at the meeting at another meeting. Just takes 3 people, me, a senior director, and someone senior in housing. Hopefully a director of housing, if they've got such a director, because they changed their title so many times. It's so blurry now. But it would need to be Martin, after he's explained why he's ignored me. Michelle Maloney, after she's explained why she's ignored me. And someone related to disabled services, because that is at the end of the day what this is all about. And information technology, they need to be there also. And information technology purely for information about the systems, and telephone systems in particular, because without changing the phone systems, not just in Waltham Forest but across the board, because of the Equalities Act, they should have done this in 2010. Without someone from IT, nothing will happen at the meeting. We need a senior person in IT that can answer simple questions, and then we can move on. But at the moment, -4 on holding. Having spoken to Duncan this morning, he was going to come round himself. I had the police offer to take the rubbish, and I've had Duncan offer to contact housing to get someone from housing to come and take the rubbish. And there's so many provisos on it now because of the way I've been mistreated by housing and the way that housing have made my life hell. Should we do that again? How was that? Yes, there's been so many issues that it needs to be specific. Not the estate management to clean my rubbish. The rubbish doesn't go until there's an agreement. Partial agreement will do. We can talk about the big stuff, the disability stuff, and all that afterwards. We can even talk about all the housing issues afterwards. We need to have a partial agreement as a preliminary to the talks, and then they can come and take my rubbish, and then we can discuss what happens going on. because estates cannot be managed the way that Waltham Forest are currently managing their estates. Good people are being surrounded on islands of crime, and that cannot be tolerated. It's easy for the council to manage the tenants. They have a contract, they have a contractual obligation, both parties. It's not just the council enforces the contract on the tenant. The tenant also has a right of enforcement on the council. But because the council, I believe the council are getting a bit overconfident in the fact that most people in estates can't afford solicitors. And those that can don't live on estates very long. I believe that council are taking liberties, not only with the closure of the Ombudsman. I've had no reply from Tjis, by the way. Replied back to Tjis because they said the Ombudsman are taking calls, and yet their website still says they're not. I've had no reply back from Tjis. This has become, have you noticed that this is becoming a full-time career for me, just trying to get things sorted. I thought they were sorted when I moved here 2 years ago, but then you can't really look up stats on councils. Not reliable stats, because like I keep saying, the way that the complaints procedure in Waltham Forest is organised means that it only becomes a complaint if the department you complain to log it as a complaint. Not all emails, not all phone calls, not all letters get treated as complaints. I can guarantee that. I could test it and put an FOI in, but I don't want to become vexatious. So at the moment, it's instinct. Based on my experience at councils and my experience of Waltham Forest Council and their complaints and what they've done to me in the last 3 months, yes, they're not logging all complaints, and they're not following their own complaint procedures correctly or fully, because they certainly haven't done that with me. And if they have an internal note stating for some reason they are authorising not to treat my complaints as serious because they think I'm mad, they've classed me as mental health, that does not negate my normal rights as a normal person, because I am a normal person too, I just have a few disabled needs. And all the council seems to be doing is negating my rights by classing me as mentally deficient or mentally handicapped or something, because it's all secret and I can't get anyone to help me on the council side. I mean, Duncan's great, but he hasn't got the access that I require. This is why I went to the senior directors. They have access across the board. It needs to be someone from the top who actually believes me first and then gives me a proper internal investigation that can be ratified. Not just, oh, I've made a phone call and they say they're doing everything by the book. No, test it. Secret shoppers, test it. You can't trust managers. They are looking after their own job. It needs to be a secret shopper. Pretend to be a customer. Try and log a repair. Try and get something logged to your housing officer. Try and talk to a housing officer. Make up a few fictitious people that have fictitious addresses on the system. Contact IT, they can do that for you. It's all above board as long as it's all signed off and authorised and legal. It's fine. Just become one of these bogus residents and then try contacting repairs or waste disposal or reporting a bin locker broken, etc, etc. Go to one of these meetings. You know, go to one of the public meetings and see what happens. Because I tell you, until you do, you won't believe a bloody word I say. And quite frankly, I wouldn't blame you, But you need to test your system. It isn't working the way it is. Just have a wander around the estates. During lockdown, just wander around the estates. And then see how many people on the estates are breaking lockdown. You're policing the parks when it should be the estates you need to police. If you police the estates, the streets would be safe, the parks would be safe. Most of the breaking of COVID-19 laws are on the estates. And the reason it is because no one manages the estates. My neighbours, they come and go as they please. They've not followed lockdown at all. We've got people sitting out the back for 4 hours when they should be at home. Not near home, it says stay home. We've got people standing outside having a smoke out the front door, blocking people coming in and out. That's not their home. The legislation says stay home. Standing around smoking is not exercise. It's not shopping either. And it's not social distancing. 2 people side by side, a metre apart, not social distancing. That's why I've been saying to Waltham Forest Council for the last 2 months, they need to forget the parks and police the estates. And then you can police the streets. If you police the estates and the streets, you don't need to worry about the parks, because you know who's going to the park. They're coming from the streets and the estates. I mean, by the time they've got to the park, what are you going to do? Oh, please turn round and go home. Whereas really, if you police the estates, I know I sound like a broken record. If you police the estates, then you could stop them and ask them where they're going. And if they say they're only going for a walk where? Challenge these people. Make it look like you're gonna do something if they're doing something wrong. It's appearance that matters. It's not what you actually do. It's what it looks like you're doing. It's all right getting police down here every 2 days, mob-handed, chasing after someone or trying to raid someone. But there's no threat. They always seem to be running after an individual or going for an individual. It's not people being stopped in the street. They're going after someone. Police never come down here and challenge anyone. In the 2 months we've had lockdown, I've only seen one person challenged, and I don't know what that was for. Maybe COVID, maybe not. But I haven't seen anyone challenged down here. From a couple of coppers, for instance, just wandering the estate. You can't just come down here for 5 minutes and then that's it for 2 days, and then come back here 5 minutes later. No, you need to be down here, literally on the estate for a few hours, on and off throughout the day. So you're doing this estate, then you're doing the next estate, then you're doing another estate, and that's all you're doing, a few hours round each estate. Making sure people know you're there, but not at a regular pattern so that people know when you're going to be there. Because that's the other problem, you see. The council stops at 5 or 4:30, as most people know. Well, what do people do? They wait until 5 o'clock and then they start doing whatever they want. Smoking cannabis, running drugs, making loud noises. You name it, it happens after 5 o'clock around here. Because people aren't as stupid as you think they are. They wait until the council's closed, and then you can't do anything until the next working day, which on a Friday and a bank holiday Monday is 4 days away. Antisocial behaviour team only have an email address still, and the automatic response after you've gone through the rigmarole of trying to log an antisocial thing on their website, because not all antisocial is listed, so you have to log it as the nearest thing and think, well, is that going to work? And then they tell you to keep a log. Does it happen all the time? So basically, Waltham Forest antisocial policy is, if it's not happening all the time, you're allowed to do whatever you want. If you can't repeat it, if it's a one-off and it's a party going on to 4 o'clock in the morning, nothing they can do. And if you complain to Waltham Forest Council, they tell you should call the police. And if you call the police at 4 o'clock on a Saturday morning, they will say, oh, we're very busy on a Saturday. We'll log it, but we won't send a unit out. Which seems pointless saying call the police, because at the end of the day, the council might say it's a police issue, but really it isn't. It is a council issue. And when I first moved in, it was a council issue. And then 2 months after I moved in, they decided we're going to close the antisocial behaviour line and put it over to the police. I bet the police weren't discussed. They just said, oh, police, it's going to be yours now. Oh, right, we won't do anything. Okay, then. So I wonder how that meeting went in the town hall. Antisocial behaviour line's going, oh, well done, what a good idea, that will save £10,000. Might make the residents' life hell, but hey, we're not here to support the residents. Oh, yes, you are, Waltham Forest Borough Council. Yes, you are here to support the residents. That is all you're here for. You're not there to pick up a fat paycheck or sit on your arse or develop piles. You're not there for that. You're there purely to support the residents. And in housing terms, you're there to support your tenants. But hey, what do I know? Apart from a lot more than you probably do. I've got a background in law, I've got a background in politics, I've been supporting myself with local authorities for 25 years, I've been supporting my father before that for a good 10 or 15 years. So I've got a good 30 years experience on what councils do and what they don't do and what they're supposed to do. The system needs to change, and it needs to change quick, fast, across the board. This needs to be centralised. Not only is there no oversight of the abuse of power that a lot of councils have, but there's no oversight of if they carry out their basic duties. Housing, safety, health, environmental health are closed. They're not taking calls. 2 months of lockdown, and if there's a problem with, environmental health, you're on your own. On other news, if we leave the council alone for a second, the daily coronavirus total of deaths is about 120 something, I think they said earlier. 1966 comes to mind. You know when the fourth goal went in for England and everyone started running on the pitch? They think it's all over? Mark my words, 37,000 nearly dead. And that's as of the 26th of May. This is going out in about 6 weeks' time. Let's see if it hangs under 40,000. Because I don't think it will. I think by the time this goes out, we would have at least doubled the number of deaths. And I see that we will go on to a second lockdown just before this goes to air. Because what with the people not really keeping lockdown, I think one of my neighbours said, I haven't got coronavirus, so I haven't got coronavirus. It's a bit like saying I'm not dead, so I'm not dead. Right. And yet the majority of people with coronavirus are asymptomatic. If you're lucky, you get the symptoms, so you know you're ill. Some people don't really get ill and they just spread the virus around. So what if that idiot who said, I haven't got coronavirus, so I haven't got coronavirus, actually did have coronavirus and he was going out spreading it? He was putting a minor in danger if he had coronavirus, because there was a minor in the car with that bloke. And also, my neighbour was putting elderly people, a nan and her mum, at risk as well, because they've all been visiting. No one thinks there's a problem with coronavirus. Fingers crossed they don't get it then, shall we? Is that what we're doing now? Oh, let's keep your fingers crossed. Let's go and bump into anyone we want. Yes. Well, hopefully, when this goes to air, I'm going to have to hurry up because the light's going. I'm doing this all by daylight because it looks better. Hopefully, when this goes to air, no more people have died from coronavirus. Hopefully, I will have a clean house again. Or a clean flat. That's Stuart's van. You can tell it to this day. But I don't think that's going to happen. The flat will be cleared. Later this week, there will have to be a plan. People have to do something. Otherwise, I will have to end up paying for someone, because there's no way I'm getting the knobs at the council, the people that pointed their finger and laughed at me, I'm not having them pick the rubbish up. I don't mind the waste people, because they're external, but not the people that don't clear the staircase. If they can pick my rubbish up, they can clear the staircases. And if they clear the staircases, I'd like a report. It's a public body. They're supposed to be open and scrutinised. Give me a report of exactly what was removed from all the staircases. Just to make sure that you're doing your job. Everything seems too much now. I seem to be asking for a marble bathroom with gold-plated taps. And yet, I'm not asking for a marble bathroom with gold-plated taps. I'm just asking for all the stairwells on all the blocks and all the estates in Waltham Forest to be cleared within a week, because every week every block gets cleaned once a week, part of the contract. So every week when the cleaner goes in, because I'm not going to call them caretakers anymore, not until they can't start taking care, when the cleaner goes in, he should be on the phone. Oh, I've got another stairwell, can you come and clear it? Bang, easy peasy. I mean, it would be easier if the people that were clearing the estate just went into every block and just cleared it once a week. Dead simple. Up and down, up and down. Clear all the staircases. And then once people got the message that the staircases were going to be emptied, if you left anything out there, then, I mean, it needs to be so that the person that leaves stuff out there, if it's rubbish, it needs to be opened and inspected, and if there's paper in there with an address on, then the person that leaves the rubbish in the stairwell gets fined. And it needs to be a substantial fine, £100 or something. If it's just items, prams, bikes, pushchairs, that sort of thing, well, pram is a pushchair, sort of, then just take it away. But if they then start taking the mick and leaving furniture outside, then start fining them for that as well. If they start leaving rubbish outside, start fining them. And if you can't trace down who's doing it, well, put cameras in your own bloody hallways then. Instead of telling people like me, oh, well, you shouldn't really be putting cameras up. And yet, for 18 months, the council's known about this, and all of a sudden, oh, you haven't got permission, you shouldn't really be installing it. You can go fuck yourself, basically. Until you start putting your own cameras up and enforcing your own estates, I'm leaving my camera up. You'll have to take me to court. I'm autistic. I have security needs. The council were aware of this. They were aware of this 18 months ago when I put my camera up. The police have seen it, the council's seen it, the caretaker's seen it. And no one said a thing. The police have said it's fine. My housing office seen it and he hasn't said anything. So this is what I mean. If people aren't doing their jobs all the time correctly, then they shouldn't be doing their jobs. If there is a problem with putting cameras up, then you need to sort your doors out. And you can only sort the doors out by changing the locks and putting cameras up anyway. It's your land. You're entitled to put cameras in your communal areas. It's your land, Waltham Forest Council. It's not your land to do anything with, because staircases are fire escapes. Fire escapes have to be clear. You have to enforce it. And if you can only enforce it by putting cameras up, then put the cameras up. Even if it's covering the lifts and the entrances, at least you can see who's coming and going. But I would cameras all over the place. Cuts down on crime. Think about it. You think you've got a problem with crime on the estates? Put cameras all over the place. And act on what you find. If people are destroying the cameras, they'll be on camera. Track them down and charge them with damage. And also, if they're minors, well, no matter who it is, with distraction on the property, and get the money back. Get them to pay for the damage. Oh, we ain't got the funds, we ain't got the people. Well, you ain't got the right people, I'll tell you that for sure. And quite frankly, if there was fines and people being made to pay for the damage, eventually it would stop. You take the chocolate away from a child that's being naughty often enough, they don't like it. They will stop being naughty. Just treat everyone like children. At the end of the day, we all are children. We all behave to external forces. To some degree. As lockdown has shown, not everyone behaves the same way. But if you use the right force, then you can get everyone to do anything you want. And I've had enough now. I'm not saying Waltham Forest Council are the worst. I think they're actually quite a good borough. I just think that certain members of staff need retraining. I think the systems are totally against a social, interpersonal operation. You can't complain about someone that lives in a block of flats because you don't know the address. You need the exact address. Wrong. You can't answer any phone calls if you've got anxiety because they come up as private. I've got mine automatically blocked. A lot of people just don't answer them. You know, a lot of elderly people just don't pick them up. A lot of them pick it up and it makes us anxious. They pick it up and they don't like to. We all see it. I've discussed this with people around here. And we all see it the same as knocking on your front door wearing a mask. I wouldn't open the door to you if you was wearing a mask or covering your face. So why should I answer the phone to you when you're coming up private? 20 odd years I've been asking that question. No one's given me a reasonable answer. You don't need to tell me what I already know. It's the phone system. I already know it's your phone system. I also already know that your phone system can be easily configured. There's not an old enough phone system out there anymore. Everything's been digitised. There's no analogue PBXs out there anymore. And most of them are running some form of GUI. Windows, or even in some cases they're running Linux. But most of them are running a Windows system. So administering it is a simple matter for IT. I mean, at the end of the day, IT set all the hunter groups up and things like that. So they can configure what numbers are published, what DDIs are issued, It needs to be more open. Open government. Remember Sir John Major when he was Prime Minister? Open government. That's what we want. Yes, open government. So, as I mentioned to Duncan today, my ultimate goal would be to have DDIs for each department. Anyone calling you from that department publishes that number on their outgoing call. It's simple. New technology. It's been around for 15 years. I was using it in Metropolitan Housing Trust. And that was 2004. And they were only a small housing association. So I'm sure local authorities can get the money. So DDIs for each department. All outgoing calls from that department go to the DDI for that department. And a departmental mailbox, so one for housing, one for rates or rents or council tax, repairs, highways, they all have their own individual planning. Some councils do that quite well. Waltham Forest are one of the most secretive councils I've come across. Yes, they have a nice, friendly website, but drill into the website and try and find something, and you end up being forced back into a certain pattern. There's no, okay, templates is all well and good, but there's no, this is housing, or rents, or repairs, or highways. It all gives you more or less the same blurb for every department, and it tells you about WF Direct, blah, blah, blah. Whereas I would make it more open, more usable by people. Not just, this is simple and easy to maintain for IT. Why not have a bit of flair? Templates across the board that departments can customise, but as long as it keeps the same format, the same look, they can customise it a little, so that housing looks more friendly, and highways looks more highways, and planning looks like planning, and you can tell from the initial page that you're on a planning site or highway site. It is fairly simple, even if it's just a matter of colours for each section. You keep the same template, but housing is blue and highways is purple, and I don't know, repairs is black or something like that. I've built enough websites over the years, and I've customised so many, and I've taught people to write websites. It is not a difficult thing to do. Look at GoDaddy and Squarespace and all those web building sites out there. My God, they would be ashamed if one of these councils went to them and said, oh, what do you think of my website? I wouldn't even know if they were W3 compliant, for instance. There's certainly, I don't think the Waltham Forest site is accessible, as it were. They haven't got an app. The web page on your phone looks a bit clunky. The menus don't work properly, etc, etc, etc. It's just something that IT have pushed out, and it's been signed off and no one's actually looked at it. It's like, oh yeah, look, that looks all right on our network. Don't try it on your network. Try it on a cheap mobile. Try it on a laptop. Try it on a tablet. Try it with impaired vision. You know, try it always. Get someone that's got impaired vision to test your website. How's that for an idea? What does this look like to you, you partially blind person? No, let's test it with someone that's young and got perfect vision and see what they think of this funky, multicoloured mess. Let's try it. I think the phrase was made famous by Tommy Boyd on LBC back in the 80s. I think the phrase is get it tested by the Bournemouth Plague Group. A bunch of 8-year-olds or 7-year-olds. And also disabled people. People missing an arm. Or that are, well, why not, blind. Can blind people access information on your website? Is it that accessible? And you're all thinking, blind website? Really? Blind people watch TV? Well, watch TV. They use TV as a radio. So a lot of blind people can still see. There's not many people that are purely blind, but they have shadows and things like that, so they do watch TV. And at the end of the day, if websites are the only thing, and they are mostly, especially in lockdown, if websites are the only source of information, or the easiest and cheapest source of information, then they need to be accessible for blind people too. Has that been tested? I doubt it. Especially going by blooming colours. You know, okay, I think there is a high contrast option. But seriously, is it just one of those options that came pre-bundled with the package that built the website? I mean, have you modified it as much as you have for the visually sighted, rather than just visually impaired? Are you testing these things as you roll them out on various groups? Have you tried it with autistic people to see what they think? Is it accessible to them? Accessible does not mean just for disabled people in a wheelchair. Accessible is for all disabilities. And calling it a disability is wrong as well. But all those people with alternative abilities, I think the phrase is now. Get people from various abilities to test things. I certainly don't like many websites. Many council-run websites are awful because there's too many menus. There's too restrictive on... There's no free text fields, for instance. If you're trying to log a noise fault and it's not a particular noise that's listed on your menu and there is no other on the menu for a free text field to fill in, then you shouldn't be having menus. You should be having free text fields. I mean, a noise complaint is a noise complaint. Why do you need a menu? That just means someone will automatically file it away and ignore it. Whereas if you have a free text field, it goes into an email, goes into a mailbox, someone has to read each one and then categorise it. That's increasing the workload. Oh yes, but it does mean that someone reads the noise complaint rather than it automatically gets logged and filed. There needs to be an awful lot of changes. Computers are a tool. And if you let them, they make you into a tool. Alexa, living room light on. And the light comes on. What else is there? It's been going on for 40 odd minutes already. Can I really keep it up? So the council website changes, structure, too many managers, still too many managers. It needs to be more flat. I mean, yes, you need a manager, but you need a manager that manages. I know it sounds a radical idea, but the title manager has the word manage in. Do you? Can you? I mean, I wouldn't expect a lot of these managers to be able to run a bath and, you know, without having assistance. So the structure's wrong, the websites are wrong, the menus are wrong. There's no accessibility on the council. The phone system needs a total overhaul. There should not be a delay on getting through to a human. It would be, oh, we ain't got the staff. I can hear it now. We ain't got the staff. If you did away with the menu systems, the IVMs, and you gave each department its own direct dial, then everyone in that department would become an operator. You call the department, all the phones in that department ring, someone picks up. And if no one picks up, it goes up to the manager. And if the manager doesn't pick up, it goes to the chief exec. And that way lies madness. Because as soon as it got bypassed and goes to the chief exec, I swear they will be down like a shot. Why has it bypassed your system? And the phones would be picked up a lot quicker. I know there's levels between the department manager and the chief exec, but no. Staff, manager, chief exec. Because no one wants the chief exec to be annoyed by a customer. One of Merlin's hairs. So it would get picked up within that department. Easy. I've set those phone systems up myself. So the phone system, IVM out, DDI for all departments. Email addresses for all departments. So if you don't know who in the department, you could just email someone. Extensions for housing officers to be published on all estates. And that extension should be a mobile extension. I.e., you can call that person and it either goes to their voicemail or they pick it up. And it should only go to their voicemail if they're on a call or in a meeting. Or at lunch. I'll allow them lunch. But at certain times you should be able to contact your housing officer. You shouldn't have to go through the menu system, get through to housing, only to get told that the housing officer is not there at the moment. My housing officer is never there at the moment. And it's funny how they always ask for your name before they put you through. If you just got a phone number and dialed your housing officer, you could get through. Or they'd have to explain why they weren't picking the phone up on you. Because it can't happen all the time. Blocks, internal, resident thereof. All blocks, mail, phones, communications whatsoever that are being blocked needs to comply with the law. And if you are blocking someone, you need to contact them and tell them they're going to block you, the reasons why and what the appeal is. Not just keep it quiet, just don't answer Mr. Gibbons. This is why it needs to go to the director. I did mention this. What else is there? What else? In other news, I think that's all for the council at the moment. I've done my mental health. I've talked about the flat. I think that's about it. Boys and girls, I think we're finally there. I'm hoping by Thursday or Friday the rubbish will be cleared. Because if not, by Saturday I will lose the cats. And Merlin is my best friend. He's known me for 10 years now, Merlin. Even before he liked me, he used to run over to me and let me stroke him. And that's going back a few years now. So I do not want to lose Merlin. And the other two are like brothers. I don't want to lose those either. So it's either I get the rubbish cleared or I pay someone to clear it, or I lose the cats. At the end of the day, the cat's more important. But I've got 2 Merlins in my favour. And we shall see tomorrow. See what happens. Another day, another dollar, as they used to say. Remember when a dollar used to mean, like, what was it, 50p? Because it was like $2 to the pound, or was it 25p? Because it was $4 to the pound when I was a kid. I think it was 25p originally, a dollar. So there we are. Oh, just on a side note, does anyone know what anyone's supposed to do with fennel? I got some from the COVID-19 group today. Looks like a big pointy onion. What the hell is fennel for? I'm from Dagenham, man. Pie, mash and, you know, that sort of stuff. I can cook spaghetti bolognese. Fennel? What the hell is... friend of mine sent something about frying fennel like an onion. Don't know. It's all a bit meaningless to me. Anyway, sorry it's been rambly again, and it's gone on for so long. I think 40 minutes? 50 minutes, I think that is. So, thank you for watching. Good night, and I'll speak to you maybe not tomorrow. Depends if anything happens. Ooh, exciting. Edge of your seat. They think it's all over. But at least by Thursday. Yes, Thursday probably. Because I'm hoping I'll have another visit from the police and I'll have my ice cream by then, so I'll be in a better frame of mind. In fact, I might do one tomorrow when I get my ice cream, because then you can see what Caspi does with ice cream. He's a weird cat when I've got a tub of ice cream. So yes, I will speak to you again tomorrow, even if it's only to show you Caspi. Thank you and good night.